Radha Madhava ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Shri Giraj Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanand. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, we're reading from Srimad Bhāgavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 26, verse number 2. You got it?
Yeah,
The chapter is called Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. And this is Lord Kapila talking to his mother. Online is still missing. Great. Jnanam Nishreya Sartaya. Jnanam Nishreya Sartaya. Purushasya Darshanam. Yad ahurvarna yitate Hridaya Granthi Vedanam Jnanam Nishreya Sartaya Purushasya Darshanam Yad ahurvarna yitate Hridaya Granthi Vedanam. Translation. Oh, you want to repeat? Sorry. Jnanam Nishreya Sartayam Purushasyatma Darshanam Yad ahurvarna yitate Hridaya Granthi Vedanam. Translation. Let's do it quick. I mean, not so many devotees are there. Knowledge is the ultimate perfection of self-realization. I shall explain that knowledge unto you, by which the knots of attachment to the material world are cut. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It is said that by proper understanding of the pure self, or by self-realization, one can be freed from material attachment. Knowledge leads one to attain the ultimate perfection of life, and to see oneself as he is. Means knowledge means we will be able to see ourselves as we are really. This is interesting. Huh? The Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.8 also confirms this. Tam eva vididvati mrityum eti. Simply by understanding one's spiritual position, or by seeing oneself as he is, one can be freed from material entanglement. In various ways, the seeing of oneself is described in the Vedic literatures, and it is confirmed in the Bhāgavatam, Purushasya Atmadarshanam, that one has to see oneself and know what he is. Very interesting. As Kapila explained to his mother, this seeing can be done by hearing from the proper authoritative source. Kapila is the greatest authority because he is the personality of Godhead. And if someone accepts whatever is explained as it is without interpretation, then he can see himself. It's all about seeing ourselves. Huh? Lord Chaitanya explained to Sanatana Goswami the real constitutional position of the individual. He said directly that each and every individual soul is eternally a servitor of Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Oi Krishnera Nityadas. Every individual soul is eternally a servitor. When one is fixed in the understanding that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, and that his eternal position is to serve in association with the Supreme Lord, he becomes self-realized. This position of rightly understanding oneself cuts the knot of material attraction, Hridaya Granthi Bedanam. Due to false ego or false identification of oneself with the body and the material world, one is entrapped by Maya. But as soon as one understands that he is qualitatively the same substance as the Supreme Lord, because he belongs to the same category of spirit soul, and that his perpetual position is to serve, one attains Atma Darshanam and Hridaya Granthi Bedanam, self-realization. When one can cut the knot of attachment to the material world, his understanding is called knowledge. Atma Darshanam. Tam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Namo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Pagum Yate Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. So this is a very interesting verse and purport by Prabhupada. Please God forgive me later. Explain about self-realization. illusion is the conception that there is something else than Krishna, and that Krishna doesn't exist. And this world is made in order to allow us to try to believe this, even though it's the craziest thing that can be conceived, because Krishna is everything. But because there are some souls, crazy souls like us, who wants to believe that Krishna allows and he manifests this material world, so that we can try to live without him, which has no meaning, because the very word living depends on Krishna. There is no life without Krishna. But one can be freed by listening to Krishna and receiving the transcendental knowledge, understanding who we are exactly as a spirit soul. And when we understand who we are, then we see the reality of our relationship with Krishna. And here Prabhupada explains so much, in the purport about realizing or seeing oneself. And he explains that seeing oneself is done by hearing from proper authoritative source. That means hearing from a liberated soul. When we hear from a liberated soul, then we can understand who we are, and then by this knowledge we can finally see ourselves. So the Bhāgavatam in the beginning says also that when one sees the absolute truth, one also sees himself. It goes together. So this is the beautiful Bhāgavatam, The Bhāgavatam is the incarnation of Krishna to destroy the darkness of the age of Kali. And the Bhāgavatam is like the sun. And even though we are born in ignorance, in very dark age, and a very dark place, the Bhāgavatam came to us like a sun in our life, in order to shine in our heart and let us understand the real beauty from which we were disconnected, in order to reconnect ourselves. Krishna comes as the Bhāgavatam in order to reconnect ourselves to him. That is called yoga. Yoga means connection or reconnection. So how to connect with God? This is very important. And today is the day where Srila Prabhupada, did his first kirtan in Tompkins Square Park 57 years ago, as Rama Roy explained to us. Exactly 57 years ago, Prabhupada did that big kirtan that was first noticed by the Time magazine. And on the following day, the Time magazine published this title. What was it exactly? Swami. Me neither, but the title was saying that Prabhupada more or less was rocking out, Tompkins. He was rocking out the Tompkins Square Park, an Indian Swami in the park. And there it was, Prabhupada started his mission for which he had come all the way from India. But actually Prabhupada had not come from India to do this mission. Prabhupada was coming from Goloka, far, 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 much farther away than India. Prabhupada come all the way down from Goloka to New York to do that mission, and on that day, under that tree, it all started, you know? Like there is always some point in history when we say this is the beginning. Things started. Of course, this is not exactly the beginning because Prabhupada prepared this and there is a whole entire story behind this. But we can say this is the beginning of this chapter. That particular chapter that now Prabhupada was going to spread the mercy of Mahaprabhu all over the world. And it started there in Tomskin Square Park under that tree.
Swami's flock chants in park to find ecstasy. That was the name of the planet.
Swami's flock
chants in the park to find ecstasy.
Chant in the park to find ecstasy. So the message was already quite good, you know, from the very first day. Prabhupada got it, you know. Krishna arranged. So that was his mission. And we sing, you know, always, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Srila Prabhupada is Krishna Prestaya. So what means Prestaya? Very dear. Prestaya means extremely dear. Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Srila Prabhupada is extremely dear to Krishna. Actually, Srila Shivaram Maharaj wrote in the first page of one of his books, the name of Srila Prabhupada is etched upon Krishna's heart. Can you imagine? You know, nowadays people like to do tattoos. And they write names, like the names of their lover on their arms, and after they hide it and they write the name of the new lover because it changes, you know, and then again. But he said that the name of Srila Prabhupada was etched upon Krishna's heart. And this is a beautiful thing. That means Srila Prabhupada is extremely dear to Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Shri Shri Gauranitai Giraj Ki Jai. Because everything about Krishna is a question of love. And when we say Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, that means we acknowledge the love that exists between Prabhupada and Krishna. So who is Prabhupada who came and sat under that tree and started this amazing, unparalleled, never seen before, we could say, transformation that would flood the entire world in the most sublime reality. He is a person who is extremely dear to Krishna. So dear that Krishna has his name etched upon his heart. Of course, that's a poetic way of saying it, but that means who is extremely dear to Krishna. And that makes his value, you know. And Prabhupada came to tell us that actually we are not valueless. We have a very beautiful value because Krishna loves us. And we have to discover that. We have to discover that love that exists between us and Krishna. And this is the mission of our life. We don't have a poor mission of life. We have the most beautiful mission of life, to discover what is the love that exists between us and Krishna. And Krishna's love is unlimited and extremely beautiful. And as we realize it more and more, we will be more and more amazed how Krishna loves us. We cannot imagine how Krishna loves us. And the more we will realize how Krishna loves us, the more we will also fall in love with Krishna. Because Krishna, it's so beautiful how Krishna loves us that we won't be able to not love him in return. So this loving relationship is established by understanding. When love develops by understanding each other's heart. When you develop love for someone, you want to understand what is the heart of this person. And when you understand what is the heart of this person, and when you know, if two persons love each other, that means they can understand each other's heart. It's not possible otherwise. So, if we want to love Krishna, then we have to understand Krishna's heart. And by understanding Krishna's heart, inevitably we will love him. And Krishna knows already our heart. This establishes a very special relationship, when we know each other's heart. Because in this material world, this is what we don't know. We see so many people, but we don't know what is their heart. We can't understand what is their heart. We see only their bodies, but we cannot understand what is their heart. It takes a long time to understand what is someone's heart. It takes a very long time. And that is the process of devotional service. Prabhupada came to introduce us to that very beautiful journey of discovering Krishna's heart and realizing that we have a place in Krishna's heart also. We are not lost cases. We have a place in Krishna's heart. Namaste Gauravani. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. So Srila Prabhupada came in the line of Srila Sarasvati Thakur. That means the line of Bhaktivinoda, the line of Narottam Das Thakur, the line of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came with all of them, because Prabhupada is never alone. He's always with all of them. They were always by his side, in his heart. Because Prabhupada is a Nitya-Siddha, Parikar, that means an eternal associate of Krishna. He has access to Krishna's world at every time and any time, because that's his world, Inside his heart, there is the spiritual world of Raj. That's who he is. He is established in his eternal identity there, in his eternal service to Radha and Krishna. So he's carrying all this with him at every moment. And when we come in contact with Prabhupada, we come in contact with all this. Not only an individual lonely saint that came from... No. Prabhupada is always with everything, and always with all of his eternal friends, all of the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna, who are as dear to Radha and Krishna as he is. So he brought us that contact with his world. Prabhupada is coming to introduce us to his world. And the world that Prabhupada carries in his heart, the world where he is coming from, is a very beautiful world. It's the world of pure love, prema, where Krishna, the Absolute, manifests the highest love that can be conceived. And not only manifests the highest love that can be conceived, but constantly increases that love at every moment. This is a realm where love always grows. And Prabhupada came to introduce us to that world, where the Absolute is the most beautiful reality. Who could have ever imagined that God was a young, supremely beautiful person of 15 years old, whose color is the hue of a blue lotus flower. We would never have been able to know this. But this is a supremely beautiful information because it is the truth that nobody knew, and Prabhupada came to let us know. This is the person with whom we are eternally connected. This is the person in whose heart we have a place. This is the person who loves us the most. And this is the person whom we have to love back the most. And Srila Prabhupada really nicely introduced us to Krishna in all details. He introduced us firstly to Krishna's form, because that's very important. Krishna has a form, nirvishesa, shunyavadi, pashyata deshatarine. Prabhupada came to destroy our ignorance that we don't know that Krishna, the Absolute, has a form and that he loves us. And so he described to us the form of Krishna so that we can be fascinated by Krishna. Because this is one of the very important aspects of the Absolute Shreya. It is said that the most important quality of the Absolute is Shreya, his beauty. Have you ever seen a blue lotus flower? It's rare, it's very rare, because Krishna is rare, but it's very beautiful. And not only Krishna has the hue of a blue lotus flower, but everything in his body is comparable to a lotus. His eyes are shaped like wide, beautiful lotus petals. And every part of his body is as delicate as a lotus. And every part of and his entire body is also fragrant like a lotus. And Krishna has very beautiful eyes. The most beautiful thing that exists in the three worlds are Krishna's eyes. And we are to look into these eyes one day. You know, like when we speak to each other, we connect, eye to eye. We see in each other. That's when we are really, connected with person. So to be connected with Krishna means that one day we will attain that full connection, that Krishna will look into our eyes and we will look back into the depths of Krishna's eyes. And then we will understand, now, here I am, Now I found you. now you found me. And that love will be established. There would be no need to say anything, because the eyes, they speak by themselves. You know? Prabhupada used to say the eyes are the mirror of the soul. And in the world of Krishna, especially, they speak with their glance. Even in the material world, we can see some faint reflection of this. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. Just by looking into someone's eyes, you can understand what is in the mind of this person. And the more we progress in the spiritual life, the more this is true, the more we can just understand what the person is feeling, thinking, willing, just by looking into his eyes. And Prabhupada had that capacity. He could look into someone's eyes and understand everything of this person. Because actually everything is written in the eyes, because the eyes are the mirror of the soul. So by the way of the heart, Krishna can look into our eyes and understand everything. And then we will really understand how much Krishna loves us. This is what Prabhupada came to introduce us to. And how can we know Krishna's heart? Because if we want to know Krishna, then we have to know his heart. So it's very difficult to know Krishna's heart, but that's essential. That's the key of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmanam Shadavam bhajati yoman same yukta tamo mata. Who is most connected to me? Among all those who are trying to connect to me, the yogis, yogi is who is trying to connect to God. Who is most connected to me? That person who can see me in everything and who can see himself inside me. That means this person who can understand my heart. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, and who with faith and devotion, with his heart, does my bhajan. Does my bhajan means constantly thinks about me. This is what Krishna says. That we have to become connected to him. And connection to Krishna is the goal of life. But how is this connection to Krishna possible? With love. We have that natural tendency inside of us that can connect us to Krishna. And the more we will let that tendency awaken in us, the more we will find ourselves closer to Krishna. He's already there in our heart. He's waiting that we just connect back with him. Because he's already connecting to us, but we are not connecting back. We are not responding to that connection. And Prabhupada came to let us understand how to do our part and how to connect back to Krishna. How to open our heart to Krishna. Let him enter fully in our heart and perceive how we are also in his heart. But Krishna is mysterious. He doesn't reveal himself so easily. That's an aspect of Krishna. He needs an explanation. You know, like we have the Srimad Bhāgavatam, we have the verses, and then you see each verses we have a purport to help us understand the verses. And the purport are so important that so many acharyas they have done so many purports, because it always needs explanation. So Krishna comes into this world as he is in order to help us to reconnect to him. And then he manifests what we call Krishna Lila. He appears in Vrindavan, manifests his childhood pastime, and manifests all the sublime beauty of his form, his love, his dealings with his eternal associates. But all this needs a purport. It needs a purport to understand really what is this Krishna Lila and who is this person. In what way is he so special? So the purport is given by Krishna himself. In order to give us that purport, he comes one second time as Gora. And when he comes as Gora, Krishna is coming to make us understand what is actually inside his heart. That's how he does. By ourselves, it will be very difficult to understand the beauty of Krishna's heart, because it's too much beautiful for us to conceive. So we won't be able to understand. We would be just puzzled or dazed and confused. Too unbelievable. But Krishna wants us to understand fully his love. So Krishna comes in a combined form with Radha. And he wants us to understand his love for us and what he's carrying in his heart. That most sublime love. So then he appears as Gauranga in order to reveal. So Gaura is the way we will be able to understand Krishna, because this is Krishna now showing us and explaining to us what is inside his heart, that we could not perceive without him doing so. So Prabhupada, that's why he is called Gauravani Pracharini. Prabhupada came to give us that Gauravani, that purport of Gauranga, to present to us what Krishna himself manifested as Gauranga, so that we could understand the deepest core of his heart. So that's a gift, such a gift. That's the matchless gift of Prabhupada. The matchless gift of Prabhupada is that he gave us access to the deepest core of Krishna's heart. Which gift can be greater than this? There is no greater gift than to be given entrance into the heart of Krishna, because there is nothing more beautiful than the heart of Krishna. And that's why his form is also beautiful, because what's inside shines outside. But first the beauty has to be inside. And because Krishna is unlimitedly beautiful inside, then also outside follows. His form also follows. And if we connect ourselves with Krishna, we will also become extremely beautiful. You know, Shukadev Goswami, who is speaking the Bhāgavatam, he was so much connected with Krishna. His heart was so much connected with Krishna's heart that he had the same beauty as Krishna. He looked like Krishna. This is not for nothing. He looked like Krishna because he knew Krishna's heart and he could understand Krishna's heart. So Prabhupada has come to introduce us to that reality by chanting the holy name of Radha and Krishna. Because inside Krishna's heart there is Radha, his internal potency of divine love. That's what Krishna carries in his heart. So if we want to understand Krishna's heart, we will discover Radha is inside Krishna's heart. And Prabhupada came to introduce us to all this beauty. And there is a bhajan that Prabhupada loved to sing. Gorangera Duti Pada. You know this bhajan? Gorangera Duti Pada. Jaradana Sampada. Se Jane Bakatira Sasara. This is Narottam Das Thakur, who is like Prabhupada, as dear to Krishna as is Srila Prabhupada. And Narottam, he wrote us all these songs, so beautiful, that if we just read these songs, Srila Gorkishore Das Babaji told us, every day we will attain pure love for Krishna. It is not that difficult. We just have to read Narottam Das songs every day to attain pure love for Krishna. Let's do it. No, because everybody knows what who is doing. I hope everybody does. Because this is a gift, It's like we receive a gift and then you put it on the shelf. Oh, I got that gift. But you don't get the gift unless you use the gift for what is meant to be. So this is a gift that Gorkishore Das Babaji gave us. We don't have many things coming from Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj because we don't have much information, but we have this gift which is priceless. Because he told us simply by reading these books of Narottam, and they are just 2 books, and they are not big books, they are just 2 small books. Just by reading these books daily, it doesn't mean you have to read the whole book daily, but some of it, then you can attain Krishna Prem. That's a slogan. That's a headline. Because it seems so easy. How is it possible? Because actually in these 2 books, Narottam Das Thakur put everything. And who is Narottam? Narottam is the person who received the love of Gauranga in his heart. Mahaprabhu placed his entire love in the river Ganga, Padma, exactly, because that's a branch of the Ganges. Because when it arrived Bengal, because Bengal is very flat, when a river comes to a flat land, then it spreads. So the Ganges, when it arrives in Bengal, it spreads in different branches, and it makes what we call the delta. Delta also. So that is the delta of the Ganges, and the delta of the Ganges is the entire country of Bengal. It's a huge delta, the biggest delta on this planet. It's a huge delta. Huge branches and sub-branches, and like the Ganges spreads in so many. So one of these branches, the biggest, is called Padma. And once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the border of this branch of the Ganges, and he was crying and shouting the name of Narottam. So Nityananda asked him, who is this person, He said Narottam was the person to whom he would give I don't know this word in English. Anyway, he would give to take care, his love, and to distribute in the future. And trust. That was exactly the word I was searching for. He would entrust his love to Narottam. So he went to the river Ganges and he said, I will entrust all my love into your water. And when this very special soul will come, Narottam, you have to give him back that love. And she said, how will I know who he is? Millions of people, they come and bath in my waters every day. And then Mahaprabhu told him, no problem. You will feel it. When he will enter into your water, you will feel so much ecstasy that your water will swell. That means you will feel it in your heart. And it happened. Few years later, young Narottam, who is also an eternal associate of Radha and Krishna, like Prabhupada, coming from Goloka for this special mission, he went to the river and the Ganges felt, oh, this is Narottam. And then she gave back all the love, all the prema that Radha and Krishna in their form of Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, had placed in her waters. And she gave all this back to Narottam. So here was Narottam. That's the day where everything started for Narottam. And what was the mission of Narottam? His mission was to write 2 books. Also, he preached widely. But mainly, the biggest preaching of Narottam, he wrote these 2 books. And we are chanting these songs. And if you discover, Prabhupada, when he would be alone, he would chant Narottam Das Thakur's bhajans. He would sit in his room and chant Narottam Das Thakur's bhajans. So many bhajans of Narottam Das Thakur Prabhupada knew. And most of the bhajans that Prabhupada would sing are Narottam Das Thakur bhajans. Because the greatest treasure are there. So Narottam Das Thakur tells us, Gaurangera Duti Pada Jaradana Sampada. If a person makes these 2 lotus feet of Gauranga his treasure, then this person has understood everything. That means this person, Sejani Bhakati Rasasar, he knows everything about devotion. That means it is most important to make the 2 lotus feet of Gauranga our greatest treasure. Why? Because this is that person, Gauranga, who is revealing himself, who is revealing to us what is inside his heart. So if we keep Gauranga in our heart and we make hidden that our greatest treasure, then we will understand Krishna's heart. That's why Rupa Goswami said, Sadaridaye kandare sfurato vai sachinandana. Sadaridaya. That may this Gora be always situated in the innermost core of your heart. Same thing Narottam Das say here. Gorangera duti pada jaradana sampada. If you make this person the treasure of your heart and the 2 lotus feet of Gauranga, these feet are golden, like a golden lotus flower, extremely beautiful. And the 2 nails of Gauranga, they are like moons. And the soul of Gauranga are like reddish, like the lotus. Extremely delicate lotus feet, shining like thousands of moons. And whoever can see these lotus feet will understand everything about Krishna. Because this is the form in which Krishna reveals himself. So it's extremely important, if we want to receive what Prabhupada came to give us, that we make Gora the treasure of our heart. Prabhupada would sing, we have, the record, Prabhupada singing Gorangera Dutipada with such a heart-broken voice. Because Prabhupada knows Gora, Prabhupada speaks with Gora. Prabhupada serves Radha and Krishna always. He touches their body, dresses them, he's their associate. So when he sings about them, that's a real thing for him. He's there. He's transferred into that reality. And then Narottam Das Thakur tells us, Gorangera Madhurya Lila Jara Karne Praveshila, Hridaya Nirmala Belotar. If one hears the beautiful pastime, Madhurya Lila, very sweet pastimes of Gauranga, if this pastime they happen to enter in our ear, then our heart will become completely purified. No need of anything else. Just let the beautiful pastime of Gauranga enter into our ear, and then our heart will become completely purified. How can we purify the heart? Just listen about Gaura. Because Gaura is Radha and Krishna who are revealing their love and who are giving us access to their heart, showing us what is the highest reality of their divine love. Always crying, in separation from each other. Always transported by all these symptoms of love. They are introducing us to the unlimited beauty of prema. Jai Gaurangar Nama Loy. Tara Hoy Premodoy. Tare Muhi Jai Bolihari. By chanting the name of Gaura, Narottam says, then prema, pure love for Krishna, will appear in our hearts. To this person, Narottam says, I say Jai. That means, well done, my brother, you got it. Prema has appeared in your heart. This is the ultimate goal of life. You have received the love that Krishna has in his heart has been transferred to your heart. Now you're fully connected to Krishna's heart. You can understand the beauty of his heart. Now begins the real life. Because without this love, it's not life. It's death. We are not living without prema. The soul needs prema to live. Without prema, the soul is dying more and more, day after day. But with that love, the soul starts to live. Tarahoi Premodai, Gorangera Namaloi, just by chanting the name of Gaura. So how do we chant the name of Gaura? Do you chant the name of Gaura? Yeah? How do we chant the name of Gaura? Yes, by chanting this. Prabhupada gave us the name of Gaura, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. That's the name of Gaura plus the name of his associate. And the associate of Gaura, they are as merciful as Gaura, and they will deliver Gauranga to us. They will manifest Gauranga in our heart. So that's the way we chant. We don't do this so much nowadays, but in Srila Prabhupada time, they would spend long kirtan chanting Panchatattva mantra. Nowadays we chant once, sometimes twice the Panchatattva mantra, but if you listen to kirtan at the time of Prabhupada, they would chant the Panchatattva mantra sometime for 10 times, 20 times, Vishnu Jan. And because the Panchatattva mantra is very powerful. This is Gauranga. And Goranam is even more powerful than Krishna Nam. In the sense, it is the same thing, but in the sense that Krishna Nam is secret and keeps himself secret, because that's the nature of Krishna Lila. And Goranam is revealing. So Goranam gives us access to the name of Krishna. That's why Prabhupada gave us that beautiful, instruction of chanting the Panchatattva mantra before chanting every round we chant. And by chanting the Panchatattva mantra before chanting every round, then we chant the name of Gauranga. And this will make then, when we chant after the Maha Mantra, then the Maha Mantra will reveal himself or themselves. So it's extremely important to chant the name of Gora, because this is in this way that pure love will manifest. And there is no offenses considered in the name of Gora. So who is a good capitalist understands where to invest. That's very important in life. All the billionaires, they tell you it's just about understanding where to invest. They invested well one day on one thing and they became billionaire. So in order to become billionaire in the spiritual field, one has to invest in Gauranga and in the name of Gauranga. Otherwise, you can work all your life, as a worker, you see in these skyscrapers. They're working harder than the billionaires, but they never get anything because they don't invest in the proper place. And there are thousands of them. They just don't invest in the proper place. But the billionaire is a smart person who understands where to invest his energy. He invests his energy there and becomes billionaire. In the same way, among the devotees, who is smart understand Gauranga is where I should invest. Because not only Gauranga is most merciful, he's not considering any offense. That means I may be the most fallen, still have my chance. So that also those who are very humble, they will invest in Gauranga because they understand I have no other chance. And it would be proud not to do so. Because we have to understand that we have absolutely no other chance than Gauranga. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this, He says, except the name of Gaura, I don't see any other good fortune for the living entities. So Prabhupada gave us this Panchatattva mantra to sing along with the Maha Mantra. And he also gave us the understanding that Sri Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna combined. That means the Maha Mantra is also the name of Gaura. Isn't it? Because Gaura is Radha and Krishna. If I chant the name of Radha and Krishna, then I am also chanting the name of Gaura. If I understand it and if I do it in this way. Because it's the understanding of what we say that counts, not exactly, the words. I want to say the thought that we have in our mind when we say something, this gives substance to the thing, or this gives the particular meaning of something. So if we chant the Maha Mantra by thinking this Maha Mantra is Radha and Krishna combined in the form of Gauranga, then we're calling out to Gauranga while chanting the name of Radha and Krishna. So then we are addressing Gaura. So if we are addressing Gauranga, then we are addressing We are chanting the name of Gauranga, and there is no more offenses. So this bhajan is extremely powerful. It will destroy all the offenses. Otherwise, how we will destroy the offenses? How? We won't be able. That's the only chance we have. By worshipping Gauranga, then our offenses, they are not considered. This is where to invest. Because we are extremely fallen. We have to recognize we have no qualities to approach Radha and Krishna. But as Gauranga, they came and they say, okay, no problem. We don't mind you have no quality. Still we are there. And we'll give you everything for you in that form. So Gaurangera namaloi tarahoi prema oi. Prema udhoi. Prema will appear in the heart of that person who chants the name of Gauranga. That's the instruction Narottam gives us. Gaurangera gunite jure nityalila taresvore. And when we will understand the qualities of Gauranga, then the pastimes, eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna will appear in our heart. This is how all this revelation is done. How we see the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna? By understanding the qualities and beauty of Gauranga. This is the door, the entrance door to the world of Radha and Krishna. What are the beautiful qualities of Gauranga? That is to be discovered in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. How Gauranga would spend his nights with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, just reciting verses of Gita Govinda, Vidyapati, Chandidas. And what are those verses? Those verses are amazing, beautiful poetry of love, describing the love of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So sometimes devotees, they fear, but I'm more attracted by Radha and Krishna. I don't feel that attraction for Gauranga. So they fear if they focus on Gauranga, they would be, deprived of their attraction for Radha and Krishna, which is not so, because Gauranga is Radha and Krishna. So when you absorb yourself in Gauranga, what do you find? Radha and Krishna. Because that's who he is. So the more we absorb ourselves in thinking about Gaura, the more we will actually come to realize Radha and Krishna, because he is Radha and Krishna. And he's Radha and Krishna who have come in this form to reveal themselves freely without expecting any qualification. So that means when we approach them, when we approach Gaura, what will happen? This is what they will do. They will reveal themselves to us. We don't need to do any other effort. Yata yata Gaura padara vindayo vindeta bhakti skrita punya rasi. Just worship Gaura's lotus feet with sincere devotion. Tata utsalpitari dyakasmat. Radhapodam bujo sudamburasi. So just by worshipping the lotus feet of Gaura, Radhani's lotus feet, they will manifest in our heart. That's the consequence. It's worth trying. This is the place where to invest. Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Korimani Sejai Brajendra Sutapash. And that person who understands that all the associates of Gauranga, they are also all the associates of Radha and Krishna who came with him. This person already will inevitably attain Krishna. Because attaining Krishna means Krishna and all his eternal associates. Because that's where Krishna's love resides, in his eternal associate. He loved them with that prema, unlimited love, and they are recipient of that love. And they are also owner of similar love for him, and they can discharge and they can distribute that love to us. So we have to take that opportunity that Prabhupada came to give us to receive the mercy of Gauranga in our life. Gaura Prema Rasarnave Setaranga Dubi Dubi. Who dive deep into the ocean of love of Gaura, in the waves of that ocean of love. Say Radha Madhava Antaranga. Radha and Krishna will appear in his heart. This is a supreme blessing, by Narottam. Very supreme blessing. We understand how should be the orientation of our chanting, of our bhajan, so that it can blossom. We have to dive into the ocean of love. Gaura Prema Rasa Arnave. What is this ocean of love of Gauranga? It's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. All these verses where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains his love and manifests his love in this world to Swarup and Ramananda Roy, they are there. When we read such verses and when we meditate upon them, then we dive deeply in the ocean of Gaura's love. Actually, we dive deeply in the ocean of Radha and Krishna's love, because these verses, they are just about the most beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Gita Govinda. Mahaprabhu would dance in the garden of Jagannath Vallabha, between the trees, going from tree to tree and literally dancing with the trees, reciting these verses from Gita Govinda. Lalita Labanga Lata. Very beautiful poem. Lalita Labanga Lata. Prabhupada, Gauranga would chant these verses. That's Radha and Krishna, becoming absorbed in their own pastimes and chanting this verse, and Krishna turning around and carried away by this love. We have to dive into the ocean of this love. And also, Mahaprabhu said, Yugaitam nimishena shakshusha pravishaitam shunyetam jagat sarvam govindam virahena. These are the feelings of Mahaprabhu. This is Gaura Prema Rasanavi, the ocean of the love of Gauranga. It's there in the Shikshastakam. It's there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's there in the holy name. As we meditate upon this beautiful reality, Gauravani, that Prabhupada came to give us, and that he took so much time and heart to write down every night for us in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. When we will take this in our heart and chant the holy name of Radha and Krishna, meditating upon this, then everything will start to reveal in our heart, and we will be introduced to an amazing reality beyond our understanding. That's Prabhupada's gift. We will be given access to Krishna's heart, to Radharani's heart, which is the same heart, because they have only one heart. Ekatmanavapi bhuvipuram dehabedam gatoto. They are one soul, so they share the same heart. How is it so? Do this. Dive into the verses that Mahaprabhu is reciting in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Dive into these songs of Narottam Das Thakur and Bhaktivinoda, who are expansion of that same reality that Prabhupada came to give us while chanting the holy name, and that reality will open its doors to you. And then our life will become sublime. Say Radha Madhava Antaranga. Radha and Krishna will appear inside our heart. Nothing less. Prabhupada came to give us that holy name and that understanding of how to chant it. So that he gave his books for this. Bhāgavatam is an introduction to Krishna. Introduction to Krishna's heart, the Bhāgavatam is. Because the core of the Bhāgavatam, there is Krishna's heart inside. In the 10th canto, that's the core of the Bhāgavatam. You know, the Bhāgavatam is Krishna's form, but the core of the Bhāgavatam is Krishna's heart. So the purpose of the Bhāgavatam is to introduce us to Krishna's beauty in Krishna's heart. And then comes Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is now an investigation of the depths of Krishna's heart. So now that Krishna's heart was accessed and, like say, open in the Bhāgavatam, then we can proceed to Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a long discovery of the abyss, we can say, the unfathomable abyss of Radha and Krishna's heart. Bhagavad Gita is introduction to the understanding of Krishna as the Supreme Person, of the Absolute Truth as being a person. That's what Krishna says. Vedaste sarvam ahamiva vedyo. That we understand in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is the Supreme Person, the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Person, and he can be known by devotion. Then now Bhagavatam will develop who is that Supreme Person and make us introduce us to the beauty of that Supreme Person, to his character, and then to his heart. Sadavo hridaya mahyam, sadunam hridayam vaham, madanyat tina jana tina ham tebyo managapi. That's the introduction into Krishna's heart. And then in 10th canto, na pareyeham niravadya samyutam, sadhu krityam vibhudanyu sapiva, yoma bhajam durjarara. So Krishna is now opening his heart. In that moment, you know, on the bank of the Yamuna, when he was surrounded by the gopi, Krishna completely opened his heart. In order to, that's a blessing. Krishna came to show to the world what is the nature of his love, what is his love for Radha and the gopis of Raj, and how they love him. What is the purity of that love? Nobody can understand. We will never be able to understand because it grows constantly. So even while we are describing it or meditating upon it, it's still growing. But what we can do is connecting ourselves to that love. And then we will become taken into that flow, along, you know. We will be taken along. And we will be so much taken along that we will find ourselves also as one of these personalities being around Krishna. When he says this, Krishna will take us along into that unlimited, you know, journey that he is himself I don't know how to say, engaged in. Okay, sorry, please forgive me. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanande.